What's up, fellas? In today's video, we're taking a look at a Bleacher Report article in which they fix every single contender in the NBA. They have 10 teams that they consider contenders, and they have one move that they think fixes all of the issues that these particular teams have. And we're going to be taking a look at those moves, whether they be trades or otherwise, in today's video. But quickly, before we get started, if you missed the previous video of the day today, I talked about the Dallas Mavericks because I upload twice a day, every single day on this channel. If you are new here, by the way, what's up? My name is Tucker. As I said, I'm super consistent with NBA content on this channel. If you enjoy the content, you can leave a like rating on the video. It helps me out a ton, helps get the video out to more people, and you can check me out at various socials in a link tree down in the description below. One other thing to plug quickly before we get started as well, I will be doing a watch party tonight during the Nets Clippers game around 7:30 to 8 o'clock Eastern time. That's a couple hours after this video gets uploaded. So if you want to come hang out with me, watch the game, just kind of have a good time and hang out with a whole bunch of different people, that's going to be a great place to be tonight. Again, around 7:30, 8 o'clock Eastern time on this channel. With that said, let's get to the article. And we begin with the Boston Celtics, and this is an interesting one. This is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this article in the first place. And that is that getting Julius Randle apparently solves a lot of issues for Boston. And the case is that the front court is really not an impactful thing for Boston. They have Tice and Tristan Thompson and Robert Williams, but they're not necessarily doing a whole lot for them on the offensive end of the court. So getting another high impact offensive guy like Julius Randle really helps them here. The problem that I have with this argument is it makes the case as Julius Randle as the starting, power forward here. When in my estimation, they just made the comparison between Tice and Thompson. So shouldn't you be making the case that Julius Randle will be a really nice bench big that can provide scoring off the bench? Because I actually think that that's a nice thought. You can bring in Julius Randle into this trade exception and you still start Tice or Thompson, but then when you really need an offensive boost, when Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum or Kemba Walker are all off the floor, and then Julius Randle is out there and he's scoring for you, I think that makes a lot of sense. But having him as your power forward doesn't make a ton of sense, because assuming Marcus Smart is healthy, the lineup is really clear in Boston. It's Kemba Walker, it's Marcus Smart, it's the two wings, Brown and Tatum, and then it's a big. And I don't think you want Julius Randle out there as the starting big, because you want someone a little bit more defense oriented, whether it be Thompson or Tice. So this is actually an interesting addition, but as the starting power forward of the Boston Celtics, I don't love it. Moving on now to the next team, let's see what they have to say. The Brooklyn Nets, and that's JaVale McGee's face, isn't it? Okay. Biggest weakness, defense / center. Absolutely, you need rim protection. Trade target, JaVale McGee. It's interesting because there's been a lot of rumors about Cavs big specifically and the Nets, but it's more so about either them trading for JaVale McGee or them getting Andre Drummond at a potential buyout. Either of which are fine. I think the Nets are obviously having their issues defensively, but when you watch them, the perimeter defense isn't historically awful. It's not great, but they would do really well to just add one decent rim protector, which DeAndre Jordan is not, and Reggie Perry is not. And that would really help a lot of their issues. And, JaVale McGee would be a fine addition, or Andre Drummond. I don't really think we need to spend a ton of time on this one, because I think we all kind of know what the issues are with the Nets. But that would certainly be an interesting addition if they traded, a couple second-round picks in exchange for JaVale McGee. Next up now, the Dallas Mavericks. Ooh, I like this one. I like this one a lot. The Dallas Mavericks' biggest weaknesses, three-point shooting and rebounding. Their trade targets being Otto Porter Jr. or Andre Drummond. The reason I like both of these is both of these guys are expiring contracts. Otto Porter Jr. and Andre Drummond both make $28 million this year, but they are expiring contracts for next season. So that does two different things for Dallas. They can make a move. They can go out and they can get somebody that helps them this year with their defense and with their three-point shooting and their rebounding, and then still have all their cap space available in 2021. Now, I'm not sure what, the trade here would look like, because they're at least relatively valuable players, and maybe those guys get bought out. I don't know. But, maybe you can trade Hardaway Jr. and James Johnson in a couple of seconds in exchange for Otto Porter. I don't know why, other than getting the second-round picks, I don't know why Chicago would be super interested in that, because it's all just expiring contracts. But I like the trade targets, at least your Bleacher Report. I like those a lot. Those are good ones. Next up now, Denver. Biggest weakness is rim protection. Trade target being Nerlens Noel. It's a similar thing to Brooklyn, right? They need a big that can defend the rim. And as they make a case here saying Nikola Jokic may be the best center in basketball with his overall offensive game, but he's grown steadily as a defender as well. But one thing he's not is a rim protector. That's absolutely fair. Nerlens Noel is a solid player. My issue here is the Knicks are actually decent. Do they, how motivated are they to start selling, to start trading away Julius Randle and Nerlens Noel? I mean, I think they're under the impression that, they're not going to be winning 50 games or anything this year. But I don't know, how motivated are they to just like give these guys away? I'm not sure, but I do like the addition of Nerlens Noel potentially there in Denver. Next up now, number 5. Ooh, I like this one too. The LA Clippers, biggest weakness, 6-man/point guard upgrade. Their trade targets being Eric Bledsoe or Lonzo Ball. Bleacher Report is kind of onto something today. So the concept here would be, I would assume, like, you know, Patrick Beverley and Lou Williams and some stuff. Like, I don't know if they have picks available to trade. I don't know what the whole situation is for the Clippers, where they would potentially be, you know, adding value here to the trade. Let's see if they tell us. They don't tell us, but still, I mean, the idea of Bledsoe, or honestly preferably Lonzo Ball, would be really, really interesting, because Bledsoe I just don't love in the postseason, and like, I just think Ball's a better shooter. So like, I would rather have the guy that I'm more confident in his ability to make shots, because that provides value no matter what. I know Eric Bledsoe made an all-defense team last year, but Lonzo can guard a little bit. I'd prefer to have Lonzo, then you re-sign him at the end of the year and kind of helps you moving forward as well. But that is a really, really interesting pair to potentially add there with the Clippers as well, because that's definitely an upgrade they need. That's a super cool one. I like that one as well. Next up now, the LA Lakers, biggest weakness, general depth, question mark. And yeah, the trade options are limited here for LA. And I think they kind of just felt like they needed to have them in the article here. Trade targets, Wayne Ellington, Mike Muscala, or Garrett Temple. Okay, not the most inspiring group. We probably won't spend too much time here on the Lakers. Wayne Ellington can shoot. Mike Muscala is fine. Garrett Temple is actually, you know, playing pretty well for Chicago. You know, they don't really have a ton of weaknesses, but just adding some depth would be nice. A couple of second-round picks for any of these guys are fine, but I'm not going to spend a ton of time here. Next up now, Miami. They just went for it right here. The biggest weakness is a lack of a go-to scorer. The trade target is Bradley Beal. We've talked about this in the Bradley Beal trade machine. I think that Miami is certainly a team to keep an eye on in the Bradley Beal sweepstakes if he does get moved this year. They've got picks. They've got what some people consider to be a centerpiece of a trade in Tyler Hero. And Bradley Beal, Jimmy Butler, and Bam Adebayo is going to be good enough to do a lot of things for you this season. I like that addition a lot. Again, I don't know if we need to spend a ton of time on it, because I think it's pretty self-explanatory why this works and why this makes sense. But adding scoring and adding a scoring punch on the level of Bradley Beal would certainly be helpful there for Miami. Next up now, Milwaukee. Their biggest weakness is opponent three-point shooting. They typically give up a lot of, they give up a lot of three-point attempts in the first place. That's kind of the basis of their defense, and a lot of teams are doing that now anyway. Their trade target is David Nwaba. So this is another one where it's like, okay, it's kind of like the Lakers one. Like, you've got good depth, but like, how could you add, like, you know, even more levels of depth? I mean, David Nwaba, like, he's kind of out there. I think for the Rockets, I don't really know that anybody's super excited about trading for David Nwaba. Like, that's fine that he can, you know, guard threes and guard a little bit, and I'm sure he'd be a fine addition, but I don't know that he's like a huge trade target right now for Milwaukee. How many we have left? We have 2 left. We do have 2 left. Okay, next up, Philly. Biggest weakness, secondary ball handler / backup point guard. You could say that for the last like 4 years. Trade target, Derrick Rose. I like that a lot. I know there's a lot of Shake Milton truthers out there, but Derrick Rose is a better player than Shake Milton, and having him out there to kind of score and facilitate would definitely be helpful. And this is a role that they have needed filled for so long, because Ben Simmons is not the point guard guy that we thought that he might be at some point in his career. He's this weird, like, playmaking wing big type guy. And so they need another guy out there that can score and can handle and can facilitate in ball screens and things like that. And Derrick Rose can certainly do that. And I wouldn't imagine it would take a ton of assets to get Derrick Rose, given that he's on and expiring and things like that. So I love the fit of Derrick Rose potentially here in Philadelphia. And then last up now, they consider the Utah Jazz among contenders, and I love that. I made a video about the Jazz. I think they're really good, and obviously they've been playing extremely well. Their biggest weakness is isolation scoring, and they're saying go out and get DeMar DeRozan. I'm not sure exactly how that would work from a trade perspective, like in terms of, you know, what they're moving. But DeMar, how would that work? So you got Conley, Mitchell, DeRozan, Ingles, Bogdanovich, and Gobert. I would have to look at the salaries, because I think DeRozan makes like 25 or 27 this year. I have no idea how that trade will work. Zero. I mean, are you trading Bogdanovich or Ingles in this scenario? Because they've got a really nice nucleus. They've got a really nice group of 5 guys that play well together and some nice depth as well. DeMar DeRozan on Utah. That would be super interesting, actually, assuming that he provides that isolation scoring that they need and can play make a little bit as well. Of course, the issue, however, would be, you know, at the end of games, him being out there and him not being the primary guy. If, you know, Donovan Mitchell is running everything down the stretch of games, you know, DeMar DeRozan being off the ball is not a super great fit. Let's see what they have to say here. So the Jazz are dead last in the NBA in isolation points per game. That's not necessarily a bad thing. They're just moving the ball around. DeMar's been one of the best one-on-one players in the league, 31 years old, averaging 21.5 and 6.8 assists with steal a game. If Utah can move Bogdanovich, there it is, salary filler and picks to San Antonio, a lineup of Conley, Mitchell, DeRozan, Royce O'Neal, Rudy Gobert would be one of the NBA's best. I know that early in the year, Bogdanovich wasn't playing super well, but I'm not convinced that I'd rather have DeMar DeRozan in this specific roster than I would Bogdanovich. That is a simply super interesting one to take a look at. Let me know what you guys think about these additions. I'm gonna be honest, typically when we do Bleacher Report stuff, I'm relatively, negative about what they have to say, but these are interesting moves for sure. These are super cool ones. But again, let me know what you guys have to say down in the comment section below. But that is going to be the end of the second video of today, and I thank you all very much for watching. As I said at the beginning, my name is Tucker. If you're looking for consistent content, like I said, this is a great place to be. You can like the video, you can check out the socials, and we've got that watch party tonight between 7:30 and 8 p.m. Eastern time tonight, live on the channel if you guys want to come hang out there. With all those things said, hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day, and I will see you all next time.